my name is Victoria Chaubo. I'm 26. I'm originally from Paris, France. Now I'm locating in Arizona. So I'm a young filmmaker, writer, and director. You can find me on YouTube with Victoria Chaubo. This is my channel. And also the same for my Instagram, Victoria Chaubo. And I have my last short film, Outside the Box. You can find it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, or filmoutsidethebox.com.
So you decided to just pack up everything from Paris and then move to the States to pursue your dream.
Yes, exactly. I was very young when I was all about the US culture and everything about it. So, yes, I always dreamed about it. It was weird for my family, but yeah, one day I decided to leave everything packed. And yeah, here I am today.
Yeah. Well, did you have a plan in place, or did you say, okay, well, I know where I need to get a job, or like, did you have some type of outline?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, I can. I prepared like at least, let's say, a year before I left to have, like, get a job, a situation where I would leave and stuff. And yes, I pretty much had a plan because it was pretty hard to like move from Europe or any other places to the US because of the visa situation. So you can just come like this. It's pretty much a lot of things, but yeah, it
Okay.
worked.
Well, was LA what you thought?
Uh Interesting question. Not I mean, I love LA and I still love LA, but um you got to be prepared to go there, especially when you want to work in the industry. I think you have to be tough, and I learned a lot, and I think I might go back soon, hopefully. But yeah.
Okay. What kind of experience did you have in France? Like your writing and your acting and directing. What did you do there?
Absolutely nothing. I never had. I did not have any experience in this. I was in marketing, communication, so it was like a complete shift. I'm not full time in the industry, of course, but like it was a complete shift. I thought about acting first, and then I arrived in LA, took some acting classes, and I think it was, yeah, in the midst of the pandemic that I started writing a lot, and then I was like, you can learn a lot of things nowadays with like YouTube and the internet and everything. So I was like, how to write a script and how to plot a log line and all the stuff. And yeah, just kind of during the 2020 was the year where I had a lot of time. Everyone had a lot of time, so I stayed home and I started writing, and here I am now. So
Yeah. Well, when you first started writing, did you started writing scripts initially, or did you just kind of like freestyle, just like write journals and write about life and that kind
yeah,
of thing?
I would say everything started with journaling. So I didn't have this habit. I mean, I used to write when I was younger, but I kind of stopped. And a friend of mine that I met told me like, "Hey, you should journal. You're a very interesting person and stuff." So I was like, "Okay, let's give it a try." So I started journaling every day, and then yeah, and I thought about some stories. So I just wrote like the main ideas, and then I kind of developed it around it and shape it in the form of a script later.
Yeah. Well, do you see your growth? Like, do you see how much you've matured and evolved into, to where you are now?
Oh yeah, um, obviously, yeah, I learned a lot. I still do have to learn a lot, but I can see the difference when I'm like reading one of my first scripts, and now I see like it's, yeah, the shape is better. You can see that I on the plot I develop things, ideas differently now. But yeah,
Okay.
I can see the difference.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that like in some of your stories. Well, first, let me ask you this. I saw Outside the Box. Was that the first thing you wrote, or you wrote other stuff prior to that?
No, yeah, I wrote other stuff, and I first started like filmmaking with micro shorts. So like it was really short, like 2 3 minutes. My first short was with my phone, and it wasn't planned at all. I was just bored, and I was like, and then I posted on social media. I had a lot of feedback, so I was like, oh, okay, maybe I got something in there. And I wrote another short. I'm really like usually inspired by a lot of things like mental health, social justice, and things like that. So in the midst of the end of 2020 with George Floyd, so I wrote a script for a micro short and about social justice, and then I kind of developed for a longer script for Outside the Box, and then
Yeah. Well, I guess what I was going to ask you is, why did you choose Outside the Box as your first, I guess, like complete project as opposed to some of the other stuff that you wrote?
I think this project spoke to me first and came from my own experience. And the fact Outside the Box is kind of my whole life. The fact that I left everything, my family, friends, and I always was the one who thought like differently. I was like, I'm gonna live in the US. Everyone's like, why? And things like that. I want to be in acting, filmmaking. Why? You could just have a normal job, normal thing. So I always had this idea that I can do something else. I can do something different. So I think it was kind of inspire my own life. And I was thinking at the same time, it can inspire a lot of people. I know a lot of
Absolutely.
people that are like blocked by, I know, friends or people around them saying, no, you should just stick to this job. And deep down, you think about something greater. So I wanted to inspire people to pursue this greatness that you have inside of you.
Mm-hmm. Well, did it turn out the way that you thought it would turn out? Like from the time that you put it on paper to the time it was edited and finished, did it turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out?
I think it turned out even better than I expected, but a lot of things changed, of course. And I think as like the writer and the director at the same time, I was very frustrated at some point because a lot of things you write it on paper, but it's not possible on set or with the props or everything. So I wasn't aware of the whole thing to create a short film. I thought it was like just take me a few hours, and no, it took us months. And now I'm aware of the real work behind it. But I think it was better than I expected, even if there's scenes that I would love to that we had to cut. But yeah, still.
Were there any like happy mistakes? Like, I guess I'll give you an example. Like, sometimes you get a camera angle that you didn't expect and you go like, oh, wasn't expecting, and I included that in the film. Did you have any happy accidents?
Yes, kind of. Yeah. I wanted like some kind of dreamy thing, like not really real. And we had this one scene where she is in, like, there's a white backdrop, and I didn't wanted that. I wanted an office and everything, but we didn't have time with the props and everything. And I was like really worried that this scene would seem weird, but it turns out pretty good. And so yeah, that was the only one, I guess.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's really stood out to me. Like, I was going to ask you if that was intentional because the guy is rejecting you at that time, but it was in the all white background.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't intentional. It was just kind of
No,
like,
that wasn't.
okay. Well, I think that was one of the most, I think that was a standout moment for me. Another standout moment for me was towards the end, or it might have been the very end, when you give a high five to the little girl who's playing you.
Yeah.
I thought those two moments stood out. Well, there's three moments. And then in the beginning, when you kind of explain what the box is, those three moments really stood out for me. So I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. What kind of feedback have you gotten?
A lot of feedbacks. I'm very happy, like friends. I was really worried that people would not understand because it's not like, I feel like it was kind of tricky to, I mean, it's not when you watch it, but I felt people would not have the same idea that I have in mind. And like when I showed the trailer to my like dad, he was like, what's going on? And I was like, oh no, people will not understand the concept of the box. It's not a real place. It's not, So, but I had great feedbacks and people were like, wow, it is really like, it's something different. And that's what I wanted to bring, something different. And I'm glad that I've spoken to a lot of people. People were like, discouraged in the industry, or like spoke to writers and all the stuff. So I had great feedbacks and I'm very happy.
Well, who helped you design the box?
No, but actually it was a studio in LA. The box was already designed. It's like a place that you can rent on Pierce space. And so at first when I thought of the box, it was not what I felt. And I was like, I had to search, do we have to create a box? I was like, oh, we had a low budget for this film. And I was like, how are we going to make it work? So I looked up and then I found this. I was like, that's perfect. I was kind of worried that it looked like too much like a music video setting, but it turns out pretty good.
Okay. Well, you were saying that you were kind of concerned that people may not receive the message that you were trying to give to the audience, and you can push back if you want to, but isn't that kind of like the way movies go? Like, isn't that the way art is? You write it or you make it and you just put it out there, and then people kind of receive it as they receive it.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like it's true. I just wanted to I just didn't want it just to make a film, like to make a film. I'm a filmmaker, I just wanted to make something that is impactful. I feel like I wanted my name to be behind things where it has such a meaning that make people think twice and what was the meaning? What is the box? Am I stuck? Am I in the box? I wanted to push this reflection. So I was like, hopefully people will get that and will reflect on this. But yeah, you're totally right about art and how I see film too.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure English is your second language.
Yes.
Does this movie translate well? Like, does it translate to French?
The fun fact was the title is impossible to translate. And I was like, oh no, I haven't thought about it. Because there's not really something that you can talk about, think about outside the box, in English, but in French, there's no really meaning. So it was hard to translate. I had to do it myself because people translated and it was like, so I did it on my own. And people like in France, I had a lot of people who were inspired too. I was like, will they receive it as well as American? Because the culture is so different. And yes, they did. So I was really glad of it. But yeah, it was a hard part. The hardest part was also to translate it.
Okay. So you're writing. Are you writing in English or are you writing in French?
I write in English, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you write, you in your things that you write, I'm sure that you write multiple characters. So you write a man's part, a woman's part, a little kid's part. What do you do to develop a man's part or a little child's part? Because that's not who you are, right? Like, yes. And especially if you're writing I don't know if you're writing a Western, but give you an example. If you're writing a Western, you're writing about a cowboy. Like, so what do you do? Do you do research or do you ask a male friend, like what the dialogue would be or how this person would act? What do you do?
Yeah, for example, for the little girl, I had to myself think about how I will react younger, but like it's hard. So it was hard making. I made some research of like the thing that was easy for this script, not for every script, but there was not a lot of dialogues, which was easiest for this part. But like for all the script that I wrote, I made more research. And also with the team, I talk about like, hey, do you think he would react like this? Should he, carry himself this way? Or do you think it's accurate or no? Do we have to change some things? So yeah, a lot of like meeting with the producer and cinematographer and think about it to complete the way the script was written.
Yeah. Well, what's the biggest challenge about writing? If I'm not a writer, and so I'm asking a writer, you're seasoned now, whether you believe that or not, you have some experience. So what's the biggest challenge to writing?
I think it's I would say discipline. Like some days you're like super inspired, and sometimes I like to go to the coffee shop, put an instrumental and something in my ears and just let myself write. But sometimes you want everything to be perfect, so you start writing a script. But this is not the way I work. I work and I have to sit and think first. I see things first and then I write it. So I'll say sometime when I want it to be perfect or a perfect story or talk about a specific topic, but in my heart, there's something else. I should just let myself go. And it's hard to let myself go when I want everything to be really structured. So yeah, it's that and discipline.
Okay. Well, don't you think you set the bar pretty high now? Like your next short film has to be as good or better, right?
Yes. Now people expect this quality. We film in 4K and stuff like this. The studio was like amazing and stuff. So people are expecting, okay, next time it's gonna be. And yes, there's some pressure, but I don't want to let it over. I think as an artist, this is I'm not afraid. I feel like this is what I have. I'm different. I have something to bring. I have ideas, and I surround myself with creative people. So I'm pretty sure something great will come next. Just have to, work. And yeah, of course, there's a pressure. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I think it's for everyone. I guess for every artist. So
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. How did you, speaking of the fact that you said you surrounded yourself with creative people, how did you do that? Like, how did you acquire your cast and your crew? Were those people who just kind of volunteered and helped, or what happened there?
so I landed in LA first. So it was great because I met the producer, and it was her first experience as a producer. So it was fun. I met her, but she knew some people because in LA a lot of people work in the industry, obviously. But she knew a great cinematographer and stuff. And then for the cast, I kind of when I finished the script, I was like, okay, I need this. So I posted on Facebook. There's some Facebook groups like with casting calls, LA. I posted in Backstage. I posted in another one too, like online. And then yes, I had like 24 hours later, I received some emails with headshots and reels, and I was like surprised because it was my first experience. I was like, "Ooh, would I have any?" It was kind of hit or miss, and it
Yeah.
worked. And for the only thing that was hard was to find a little girl because there's different with child labor, and I didn't know anything about it. It's one of my first experience in the industry,
Hmm.
and then I was contacted randomly. I don't know from which website casting call that I posted by an agency. And I saw the picture of her and I was like, wow, like we kind of look alike. And it was like amazing. So
Hmm.
yeah, everything worked out together, but there was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, yeah. Were you nervous like the first day of shooting?
Yes. I was nervous for the time because the producer give you a time, we have time in the space and stuff. So I was really nervous about people showing up on time and make it like a wrap because we had a certain scene. We shot it in 2 days.
Okay.
So we had a lot, yeah. So we had to do certain amount of scenes the first day. And I was kind of worried more about this than my part of acting and directing.
Yeah. Well, what did you learn that you're going to take forward to your next project?
Um, I I think it was before before being on set. I had no idea the amount of work we had to be in connection with cinematographer, producer. I had no idea. I really came with like, hey, let's make a film. That's simple. Like bring a
Yeah.
camera, some few people, and no, it
Hmm.
took us time. You have to think about so many details, bringing food on set and all these things that I had no idea. So I learned so much. I cannot even give you just one thing. I was like, there's an amount of knowledge that I learned through this experience. This is the reason why I'm so grateful for this project, and it's very like close to me. It's dear to me because I learned so much.
Yeah. Well, I guess since you've gone through the experience, when you watch movies now, do you watch them as a fan or do you watch them as a producer, director, and actor?
It completely changed my way of. Sometimes I don't even appreciate, like I had to rewatch a scene on Netflix because I'm like, oh, this angle is great. Oh, they had to shoot this scene. How many people, how many, I think about the takes and all this work, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, now I think differently when I'm watching. So I keep watching a lot of film movie daily because I need to know, I need to understand, I need to observe. But yeah, it completely changed the way I watch things.
Yeah. Well, what are your favorite things to watch? Like, well, I take that back. Give me a couple of films that you think are in your top 10.
Ooh, uh, obviously Training Day.
Oh yeah.
Denzel is. my favorite actor. So of course, what else do we have? Kind of like Inception, Get Out. Um, what do we have? Yeah, I'll say. Um,
You
like
surprised me with the Training Day. You surprised me.
yes. So the fun fact, I watched for the first time like 2 or 3 months ago, which is shameful. I know it's a classic, and but I watched it and I was like, wow. But I was more observing Denzel and the acting and the way he played. He is amazing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I will say just for this part. But yes, I love Get Out. What else do we have? There's more. I watch a lot of things, but yeah.
Well, let's talk about Denzel for a minute. What do you think makes Denzel so special? Because let me say this, I agree with you. Like he is, uh, I think him and Morgan Freeman are like 1 and 2 for me, somewhere like that, or they're both top five. So, what do you think makes him special?
Um, I think um he's a hard worker, and I watch a lot of his speech and interviews, and he's a man of faith, which I love too. That's kept him from a lot, but also he's a hard. He works hard to get where he is, and he has a lot of experience, and I think he came like he dropped out of school and went into tried into Broadway, got rejected, and then like 10 years he has his own show like with fences in Broadway. So I think I like the fact that through rejection, through like no's, he kept going, and now he's an icon in Hollywood and is an inspiration for a lot of actors and people around the world. And he came from nothing. So I love this.
I guess I will say this about Morgan Freeman, or not necessarily Morgan Freeman, but Denzel Washington. I think his skill level, I think he was born with that. I don't think, and people have told me that I'm not right, but I don't think anybody, I don't care how hard you work. I just think that
Mm-hmm.
cat was just born with something that you can't get, that you can't obtain. It's
Mm-hmm.
being Tiger Woods or LeBron James. That's where I am. What say you? Do you think somebody can work to be that talented as he is?
um I definitely think we can. I mean, not the same because he is who he is, but you can work hard and get. Because sometimes people that are gifted and naturally talented are the one that don't work. They think it's gonna get easy. So I think it is. He did both. I think he's naturally talented, but also he worked hard. It's not enough to wake up one day and be like, "Hey, I'm talented. I'm gonna make it." No, there's some work to do. But I do agree in the fact that I think he's naturally talented. He found his passion in life and he pursued it.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think about Shonda Rhimes? Like, are you a fan of some of the stuff that she's doing? Grey's Anatomy. I think the other one is How to Get Away with Murder with Viola Davis.
Yeah,
Are you like some of the stuff she's done?
yeah. She's definitely one of my inspirations. So yeah, lately she did. Oh, what was it? Bridgerton, the success on Netflix.
Oh,
She's
is that
definitely
her? Is that hers? Bridgerton.
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So she's an inspiration. Also, as an African American woman, Black woman, it was to watch her success, and also Grey's Anatomy. Like I don't know anybody who like don't know about it. So she made an impact in the way she portrayed strong women. I think she made a difference in that. We didn't have, in Scandal to how to get away with murder. We can see how women are portrayed in this way. It's different. She brought something different, and I love this.
Okay. Well, I have to confess that I've never watched any of her stuff. Like I've never watched How to Get Away with Murder. I've never watched Grey's Anatomy. I've never watched Bridgerton. Those kind of things for some reason don't move me. Like
Okay.
it doesn't make me
Okay.
want to watch. And I can't, I'm not sure why, but I'm more of I like a lot of more of the grimy stuff like Training Day or Breaking Bad and stuff like that. So
Okay. No, I
yeah.
get that. I understand that. But at least our like
Oh
knew
yeah,
her
almost
in
that. Oh
her
yeah,
work, so it means it's impactful enough. But yeah,
yeah.
I get
Well,
that.
well, give me a young lady who you think is a good actress.
A young lady who's a good actress.
You can't
Um,
say Viola Davis because everybody says Viola Davis.
yeah. um, in the new generation now, she's doing pretty good. I'll say Zendaya. We but she's from the younger generation. But who else
Was
do
she
we have?
good at was she good with Denzel Washington's son with John David, that last movie that they made on
Um,
Netflix?
I did not finish it because I started in first minute and I was like, seems like a lot. I need to watch it. I heard a lot about it, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. For,
Okay, okay.
like from what I see, but she's doing good. But I will not put her in my favorite listing for now. But yeah, I love Viola Davis. I love Kerry Washington too. Um, who do we have? Yeah, it's it's funny because when we ask me about actress, I have a hard time finding it. But when it's actors or director, producer, it's easier for me. But yeah, I'll say
Well,
Kerry Washington.
but what does that say? Do you think that there are not enough roles for actresses?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, as I'll say now, like the last 2 or 3 years, things are changing a lot with every, the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter movement. Everything is kind of changing. But before that, it wasn't great for have like, oh, you cannot like accept Viola Davis. You cannot see someone, a woman, an actress that is had a role like Denzel, in a
That's
movie.
right.
It was
Mhm.
hard to like. So now it's changing slowly, but it's changing. But yeah, I don't think they're casting women for such a role like this.
Yeah, I think because I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about same thing, like pick your favorite actor or pick your favorite actress. And also we were talking about like different roles. And what we discovered or what we came up with is the fact that if you are picking an actress, it's very difficult to pick someone who has had multiple parts, like has had a great range, right? Like
Mm,
they played the doctor, they played the lawyer, they played the president, so we can actually see what their capability is. Most of them are playing one type of character throughout their
yes,
entire career.
that's true. I agree. And this is, I think, it's changing in the new generation of actresses, and things is going to change. But now still, yeah, I cannot really find, except like we said it again, Viola
Viola
Davis
Davis,
made a
yeah.
difference. She's talented, she's amazing, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, is that one of your goals, is to be quote unquote in Hollywood? Like, that you are going to be the next. Do you go by Victoria or do you go by Vicky? What do you go by?
uh Everyone calls me Vicky. I don't mind both of it. Like, I
Okay.
really don't mind. Most of people call me Vicky, Victoria. I really don't mind. But
Yeah.
is that a goal? To like you to be like Viola Davis, something like that? Is that your question?
No. I guess I'll be a little bit more specific. If is the goal just simply to be doing what you love, which is writing and filmmaking,
Mhm.
or is the goal really to be like to have a film in Hollywood or to have a series on Netflix, or you understand what I'm saying? Because like
Mm,
actually with YouTube and Venmo and all these other platforms now, we can kind of do that and
yes.
generate a revenue and do what we love, but we're never a part of Hollywood, or we're never part of if you're a singer, you're never part of the radio station or whatever. So
Mm.
which one of those two things, I guess, is what more of what you would want or be ideal for you?
Oh, ideally now, I always want to still be, patient about what I do, and put my heart into it. But like, yes, it's actually one of my dreams to be like a part really of this industry in Hollywood, and putting something in the box office and see how it goes through the weeks and stuff. So yeah, it would be amazing to write, pilots for Netflix or other platform, or, so yeah, I'm definitely open for any TVs or films and theater. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you were directing, was it a challenge to kind of direct someone into say, hey, look, this is what I want? Like, because I don't know if that's a part of your personality or not, but was that a hurdle for you to try to get over?
It was challenging at first because people can think I'm shy. I'll say I'm just introverted, but sometimes so it was hard to like not being bossy, but just like letting that like this is how I vision, I have that in mind and I want to make it happen on set. So yes, at some point, but I always found like to be really kind and respectful to everyone, to the team, the cast, and then letting them know like, hey, this is what I want. So yeah, at first, the first few times I was like just whispering to the producer, and she was like, hey, you're the director, just own it. And then I was more comfortable.
Yeah. What about This Is Why? Tell me about that.
Oh wow, you went to watch.
Listen, I stalked you. I went on your webpage. I went on your Instagram, so well, yeah, I had to be prepared.
No, that's a great job. That's a great job. So yeah, This Is Why was my first micro short. Was not like zero budget, just a camera with a friend. So we were like just three, and it was just not a random idea. I'm not gonna say that, but it was not, the same amount of work. But so the culture is different from Europe, France, and right there, of course, 2020 pandemic. But then so like everything with Black Lives Matter and the violence, and the way I felt was, wow. I think I took down social media for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because I couldn't take it. It was impacting me. I had no idea that I could feel like it was my own family member when George Floyd was murdered. So, and then I took some time for myself, mental health, and then I started to write. And I was like, because I have a lot of people, friends from, other ethnicities, and they were like, what's going on? Why is there all this violence and all these things, there riots? And I had to explain, like, hey, this is what happened. So I was like, oh, okay, this is why. It went pretty, yeah, I wanted to explain why, because I had a lot of people who did not understand, and they were like, yeah, Black Lives Matter is a violent movement and all this stuff. And I had to tell them what happened was, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a pretty broad question. How would you define filmmaker? And the reason why I ask you that is because, we have people who do stuff for TikTok. We have people who do stuff for YouTube. We have people who make short film. We have people who make feature film. So how do you define filmmaker?
I mean, whatever the platform, I do think even if you post on TikTok, you can be a filmmaker, because you're using the heart of the art of, the cinematography. And so I don't think it changed like someone who is in, theater or just a TikTok person. I do think we have to give them the respect, because there's this art. There's like, you have to write, there's a whole process is the same. It's just the platform can change. So I would say, yeah, filmmaker is amazing because it can contain a lot of, different aspects of it. And I embrace every aspect of it.
My name is Taylor, and here I am, stuck in the box. I'm pretty used to it now, but let's be honest, the first time that I woke up there, I wasn't this calm. Oh, my apologies. I forgot to tell you what is the box.